Well, that's... Hello. Do you think this little thing would like to be on classified captures? Well, they are now. Speaking of close journalist encounters at disaster sites, take a look at this.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted.
This happened in southern Lebanon when a British journalist was doing what he does best, reporting. And yes, that was a missile. And it barely missed him. If he was standing back by just a few feet, he would basically have been murdered on live TV by a missile. Yeah. He and his crew made it out okay, though. Not many can say that. Intelligence from Russia later revealed, or at least insinuated, that missile dropping just around the journalist was no accident. They state he was targeted by an Israeli airstrike. There's no way to prove this, but if it's true, well, it's chilling. In its defense, the Israeli Defense Forces stated that it warned civilians about incoming attacks in that area. In other words, the journalist was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Pretty controversial, don't you think?
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted.
Absolutely chilling video there. You saw that rocket hit a few feet away from reporter Steve Sweeney and his cameraman. Both survived. They do not have any serious injuries.
Costume contest. We do it every year. It's always a lot of fun. Let's get started. Our first caress.
Now this happened on live TV. Okay, I double-checked and it really did happen on live TV. Now that's Wendy Williams. This was a live Halloween broadcast on a personal show. That explains the Lady of Liberty statue costume. Now it was supposed to be a show like every other, with her introducing an ancestor costume contest. It was all fun and games and laughter, until she began to lose her composure, her speech slurred and her eyes widened. Now, if it were left to me alone, I'd say those eyes were filled with fear, strange, deep, and unadulterated fear. She looks like she saw or experienced something. Her body began to wobble until she eventually collapsed to the floor. This left the audience and individuals in the studio stunned and worried. Right after she collapsed, the show cut to the black screen. This obviously meant something was wrong. A long commercial break followed after that. At this point, it was clear that this was no prank.
That was not a stunt. I'm overheated in my costume and I did pass out. But you know what? I'm a champ and I'm back.
And she, reportedly examined by medical professionals, decided that it was all okay and it was just dehydration. Oh, good, yes, but well, not exactly, so take a look at this one. Now, it turns out that some weeks prior to her collapse on TV, Wendy had been critically criticizing Beyoncé, especially about her baby bump in the video. But she believes it was not real, and went on to always call out Beyoncé for being jealous of Adele. And now some members of the conspiracy fraternity, as I like to call them, believe that Wendy, by taking this bold stance, annoyed Beyoncé and paid for it. And they say bold because it's Beyoncé and her husband who are seen, as you know, as the higher-ups and the elite of the elite when it comes to entertainment. They believe you can't make it in showbiz without showing allegiance to them. I'm not too sure about that. I think it's a bit much, but, I'm only reporting what most believe actually happened. Wendy was later diagnosed with dementia and whatnot. They also believe this is an attempt to discredit her words prior to the incident. I'm not sure what to think about these conspiracies, but one thing is for sure, seeing Wendy like that on live television would not have only been disturbing but nerve-wracking as well.
Halloween costume contest. We do it every year. It's always a lot of fun. Let's get started. Our first caress.
This next one, well, it's a very heartbreaking clip, so brace yourself. These journalists were conducting a routine morning interview with Vicky Gardner, the local Chamber of Commerce executive at Bridgewater Plaza, to discuss the 50th anniversary of the Smith Mountain Lake. Well, this was supposed to be a quick morning episode, and while watching the live stream, however, 7 shots were suddenly heard, and then the camera dropped to the ground. The network, sensing something was wrong, quickly switched from the field to the studio. Now, well, this obviously shocked everyone watching, but you could see from the face of the anchor in the studio that something was definitely wrong. For the first few minutes, everyone was confused. After what seemed like a lifeline, the studio finally confirmed what had happened. Reporter Alison Parker and a photojournalist, Adam Ward, of the WDBJ7 News had been fatally shot. They didn't survive. For the first few hours, no one knew who the gunman was or why they had been killed. That changed after a few hours. By midday, the police had already been hot on his heels, and after a short chase, the suspect was found in his car, unalived. He'd shot himself as the police chased in on him. A quick search on his Facebook page revealed that he'd actually documented his actions and even recorded them as he approached to shoot. He also posted a 23-page manifesto to ABC News explaining his actions and even cited the 2015 Charleston church shooting as a catalyst for his actions. He was not an unknown person. He was someone who once worked with the network. He'd been let go and was not happy about it. And this was at least 2 years prior to the incident. But then again, why Alice? Why Adams? Why not take on the whole network instead of just 2 journalists doing their job? Well, it turns out, at least according to him, they'd actually racially abused him during his time at the network. On set, his name was Bryce Williams, but in real life, it was Vester Lee Flanagan II. And I know what you're thinking. Did Vicky Gardner die too? Well, no, she didn't. She was shot in the back but recovered at the hospital after going through emergency surgery. Everyone else didn't make it, including the gunman. I guess this is one of those cases that makes your blood run cold. I'm not sure about you, but this makes me rethink workplace violence.
To provide a better experience, we're saying tourism.
A local news crew filming a breakfast feature on the economy. It was live, and what happened next was played out in front of thousands of viewers. While that was going on, a man walked up behind them, camera in one hand, a gun in the other. He waits for a few moments, watches, and pulls the trigger several times. As the camera hits the floor, it captures this haunting image of the gunman standing over his victims. The program director cuts back to the studio. The presenter, clearly shocked.
We will, of course, let you know as soon as we find out what those sounds were from.
So I'm currently on Santina Court in Chico, and this is where the incident occurred at approximately 9 o'clock this morning.
This is disrespectful. Do you understand that?
Get the out of here!
Stop it!
Your reporting was disrespectful. Well, these were the last words Megan McKay heard before being physically assaulted and knocked to the ground by an unknown person. The next thing we hear is her screams before the camera is again cut to the studio to avoid traumatizing viewers. What had happened? Well, no one knew. Fortunately for Megan, however, law enforcement agencies were close by to assist. What was Megan doing that got her into that situation? She was just doing what reporters do, reporting. This happened in 2019 while she was reporting from a scene of a mass drug overdose at a local residence that resulted in one death and the hospitalization of at least 12 others. Megan was shaken, but there was nothing that was life-threatening. Megan later released a statement affirming that she was still committed to the cause of journalism and was not going to live in fear while discharging her duties as a journalist. A network pulled the video from their site, but it had been shared so many times already that there was no point at that moment. They did later identify the assailant as Carla Kemvisai. Naturally, she was arrested and sentenced to probation for the attack.
So I'm currently on Santina Court in Chico, and this is where the incident occurred at approximately 9 o'clock this morning.
This is disrespectful. Do you understand that?
Get the out of here! Get the out of here! Stop it!
진짜 재밌다. 야, 방송 얼마나 되는데 아직도 방송말을 못해.
대표님.
카메라 치워.
아니 왜? 예, 죄송합니다.
울지 마세요.
대표님 울지 마세요.
대표님.
대표님도 되게 힘든 시간을 보낸 사건이라서.
I'm gonna ask you right now, for all the men, what would you do if you saw any woman, in fact anyone, innocent, a child, a woman, being just assaulted? What would you do? Because I can tell you what I would do. And have done.
전에 사건이 진짜 재밌다. 야, 방송 얼마나 되는데 아직도 방송말을 못해.
대표님.
카메라 치워.
아니 왜?
예, 죄송합니다.
울지 마세요.
대표님 울지 마세요.
대표님.
대표님도 되게 힘든 시간을 보낸 사건이라서.
Again, do we know if this truck is stolen?
No, have no idea. All I know is what Firebird reported to me, that apparently the police pulled this vehicle over, and the vehicle then backed into the cruiser. There were no injuries to the police, and just simply took off, and that's how this all ensued.
And it looks like they're probably just going to
Now
let
he's
this
going
thing
into a parking
play
lot. Now
out.
he's stopped. We'll see what
he can't
happens
go
here.
much
He
further.
has stopped. This may be the end of this thing.
Well, he's taking
Okay,
off,
he's out.
running.
Okay, now it's a foot chase.
Okay, now he's jumped into
Now he's in
another
another vehicle. Okay.
All right, they're
doors
closing
open,
in.
please.
Looks
Okay.
like they've.
Oh, geez.
We're going to pull out. We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know what exactly has transpired between the police. Stay with ABC 15 News. We will bring you more information as we get it. Also, check our website for updates, abc15.com.
All right, I gotta figure out what the hell this is. Oh, this happened on July 2007. Was anyone killed? No one in either craft survived. Oh my God. In a matter of seconds after Craig Smith of KNXV radioed to the other pilot that he was right over the top of him, man, it was fatal.
Again, do we know if this truck is stolen?
No, have no idea. All I know is what Firebird reported to me, that apparently the police pulled this vehicle over, and the vehicle then backed into the cruiser. There were no injuries to the police, and just simply took off, and that's how this all ensued.
And it looks like they're probably just going to
Now
let
he's
this
going
thing
into a parking
play
lot.
out.
Now he's stopped. We'll see what happens here. He has stopped. This may be the end of this thing.
Well, he's taking
okay,
off,
he's out.
running.
Okay, now it's a foot chase.
Okay, now he's jumped into
now he's
another
in another vehicle. Okay.
All right, they're
doors
closing
open,
in.
please.
Looks
Okay.
like they've.
Oh, jeez.
We're gonna pull out. We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know what exactly has transpired between the police.
To kill our people, and the road continues to be more expensive because the last amount
so
that
this
we
is
were
in Africa,
given
obviously.
by the department was 220 million rand. That was spent already on this particular road, whereas the initial amount of the road.
Well, that's everybody's paying tax, everybody's paying road tax, everybody's paying for this stuff to not happen.
120 million rand that was spent already on this particular road, whereas the initial amount of the road. This guy.
Now this one comes all the way from Russia and occurred somewhere on August the 2nd, 2017. And yes, that was a right hook to the reporter's jaw. Why would anyone punch a reporter? On second thought, after everything we've seen, I shouldn't be asking that question, really, should I? The Russian journalist known as Nikita Razhdoshkiev was reporting on Airborne Forces Day, the holiday celebrating Russia's paratroopers. As he spoke to the camera about why the paratroopers were considered elite, a bearded man who saw stumbled into the frame, shouting profanities and threats. When Razhdoshkiev asked the man to be quiet, the assailant landed a forceful right hook to the reporter's jaw, causing him to stumble away in pain. The live feed was immediately cut back to the studio, where the anchor appeared visibly stunned and speechless for several moments before moving on to other news. The attacker was later identified and arrested. He was identified as 32-year-old Alexander Orlov. He was identified as a known soccer hooligan with no military affiliation. Orlov was later sentenced to 6 months of corrective labor for the assault. Tragically, Nikita Razhdoshkiev passed away only a year later, in 2018, in an unrelated incident, a sad end for a reporter who had gained international recognition for his professionalism during the televised attack. Now, before we move on, I know I said his last name in so many different ways, but I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that name, and there's nothing on Google that's telling me how to pronounce it either. Stepping away from all the serious and gloomy news, let's look at this incident involving grandma from Wisconsin's captured on live TV.
On chef was Constance Landry. She says she's lived here her entire life, almost 80 years, been through just about everything.
Ain't no 80 years old.
Well, just about. I'm sorry, Miss Constance. 76 to be exact.
No, 75.
75. Are you coming back to New Orleans and New Orleans East?
Is the elephant heavy? I'm coming back, baby.
Yeah, Grandma doesn't appreciate being made to be or sounding older than she really is. She handled that strictly and with class. I guess women don't really play around with their age, huh? I know my grandma never did. Please don't come for me for saying that.
On chef was Constance Landry. She says she's lived here her entire life, almost 80 years, been through just about everything.
Ain't no 80 years old.
Well, just about. I'm sorry, Miss Constance. 76 to be exact.
No, 75.
75. Are you coming back to New Orleans and New Orleans East?
Is the elephant heavy? I'm coming back, baby.
Now, I spent, in 1992, I spent quite a long time in Johannesburg. And it wasn't the safest place in the whole world then, but when Nelson Mandela came out of Robben Island prison, which I was in Cape Town actually when he came out of Robben Island prison at that particular point in time. things were supposed to get better, and yeah, they did, and everything is cool, but I kind of need to know exactly when this particular clip was, because you can't tell by this guy's jacket, but okay. Man, okay.
Give me
What's going on? I mean, these guys know they're on camera by now.
What exactly happened there? Just take us through that.
Well, I mean, I was literally seconds before going on air for the 7 o'clock bulletin. I'd just done one at 6:30. And these guys just came. In fact, I was confused because remember, as you stand there, I was the only one with the light on. The light was on me. So everybody else was sort of, you can't see the other people because they're outside of the sort of little portion that's being lit. And then here comes this person like looking for a phone. And I had my phone in my hand because I had just spoken to the executive producer about the crossing we're about of the bulletin, about the crossing we're about to do. And then someone comes, I'm like, hey, what's your problem? You know? And then suddenly I'm like, it's all these strangers I don't know. But I was wondering, I mean, who could like possibly, you know, disturb me while they know that we're like literally seconds before going on air? And it was this guy, so they were trying to, you know, so I give him the phone, and then, you know, they took I think about 2 or 3 phones, my phone, Sophie's phone, I can't remember who else's phone.
Whoa.
Lammy?
Politiekorpsen van 10 Europese landen hebben een grote mensensmokkel.
This morning, bumper-to-bumper traffic on I-25 after a major...
The various organizations like the NYPD and the sanitation department. It was a little bit hard to know.
She's hot.
Yeah.
Мөнгө цагаад сууж байдаг компаниудыг аудит шалгаж илрүүлсэн. Барилга барина гэж төсвөөс мөнгө авчгаад.
Here we go.
Look, we can watch this all the way through. You know, maybe you should, but at least you understand that life can sometimes be funny as well. This next one isn't disturbing, but it's just as interesting. So, to provide a little bit of context, that sketch is supposed to be one of a criminal at large. But then again, take a good look at the reporter. Do you see any resemblance? That's what the lady is trying to talk to him about. He does look like the suspect. They're laughing. And I must admit I did laugh a bit as well, but what if he is the one? Well, some viewers felt the same. Others just mentioned that the image is as generic as sketches go. Yeah, I don't know. What say you?
Police are on the hunt for the man resembling this sketch.
Wait a second. Look at these two faces side by side. See any resemblance?
Not a chance. This is solved. This is no cold case. That's the magic of television.
You better be glad you weren't on the story.
Yeah,
because they would have hauled you away.
He needs some makeup.
I know.
I've got some to spare.
If you DVR us, go back and it'll make all sense if you look at the piece in our 7:30 half hour.
Now, this happened while she was covering a live event and eventually a protest. A man approached her and became increasingly aggressive, eventually physically assaulting her while the camera was still rolling. The footage captured the sudden transition from a standard interview or a report into a violent confrontation. She's with the People's Administration Direct Democracy, or PADD for short. Now, I'm not sure if it was politically motivated, but things like this make my skin crawl. Especially when it involves ladies. Their safety should be a great concern for the networks that send them out.
Boxing up midfielder is the idea of strikers, you're the stars. Yes. Well, he's not here, Paro.
He's been left behind. He's on the naughty step from PSG. He's not gone on the tour of Japan. What have you missed? What do you say? Shut.
And he was still smiling while collapsing. Sorry, I just couldn't believe it. I did some research before this and found out that it was actually filmed on July the 23rd, 2023. And for those who don't know them, he is Shaka Hislop, a former professional goalkeeper and ESPN soccer analyst. While providing pre-match analysis alongside co-host Dan Thomas for a friendly between AC Milan and Real Madrid, Hislop began to sway and lose his balance as we saw in the clip. He eventually pitched forward and collapsed into Thomas before falling face first onto the pitch. The broadcast was immediately cut to a commercial break as medical personnel rushed to the field to assist the 54-year-old. The suddenness of the collapse caused significant alarm among viewers and colleagues, particularly as Thomas was heard frantically calling for medical help on the hot mic. By halftime, however, Thomas was able to provide an optimistic update, reporting that Hislop was conscious, talking, and feeling embarrassed about the incident. Hislop later released a video statement thanking his family, friends, and the medical staff for their support. He described the event as a moment of pause and indicated that the collapse was likely due to heat and exhaustion as the temperature on the field that day reached nearly 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, jeez. How the hell did the players manage? This was another disturbing moment caught on live TV. Fortunately, it's one of the few that ended well.
Boxing up midfielder is the idea of strikers, you're the stars. Yes. Well, he's not here, Paro.
He's been left behind. He's on the naughty step from PSG. He's not gone on the tour of Japan. What have you missed? What do you say? Shut. I need some help.
And speaking of ended well, let's end this episode on a positive note, shall we? Yeah, this dad was having his moment on TV when his kids burst into the room to steal the limelight. It may have been funny for us, but you can see he was slightly embarrassed. The quick operation to recover them was done smoothly, but this is probably one of the most legendary clips out there involving Professor Robert Kelly.
Respond to those scandals.
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. Pardon me. My apologies.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Now do me a favor. Give us your clips, give us your videos, give us everything that you got. Because we're going to stick it on the channel and we may even mention you. If you want us to, of course. And do us a favor, share this with everyone you got. And I'm going to wait for your videos. See you later.